All right, CNT120, Chapter 4 Lab. We're now moving on to TCP. We're going to look at the TCP header, and more specifically in there, we're going to look at the three-way handshake. Now, if you remember, with UDP, UDP was getting used for quick kind of ask and respond. That's why we looked at the DNS. Hey, do you have this? Do you have this IP address? Do you have that IP address of this name? Boom, here it is. With TCP, we're trying to transfer a bunch of information, like load a web page. So to do that, before we even ask for the web page, we contact the server, if you will, and say, hey, I want to do a transfer of data. And the server's like, okay, let's make that happen. And then we actually transfer the data. So this three-way handshake is that setting up of, hey, I want to get data from you, and the server's like, okay, let me get data to you. This coordination, the synchronization. So we are going to look at that three-way handshake between our device and the server. So we're going to start off by, on the packet sniffer here, we're going to adjust the filters so we see TCP and HTTP. TCP and HTTP. So here, sniffer, we're going to go to Edit Filters, and we're going to go to the Miscellaneous tab. We want to see TCP, and we want to see HTTP. So where are you? There you are, right there. Those two right there. We'll clear anything we have existing, and I should be just getting that information. So I'm going to minimize that just to clear up my screen for you. I'm now going to go to the Philadelphia laptop and load the web page again, and that should generate this traffic. So when I go to communicate with this web server, it should actually, before it does anything, say, hey, I want to transfer data with you, and the web server's like, okay, let's make that happen. And then it gets the web page. Well, I want to capture that three-way handshake. So I'm going to open up the laptop here, and go to the browser, and I'm going to say, hey, give me your web page, cnt.org, www.cnt.org. So www.cnt.org. Load the web page. That should be enough to see this data transfer. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up my sniffer. And I am looking for these TCP packets here before the HTTP. If for any reason you don't see those, I would just clear this, redo the laptop loading the web page, open the sniffer back up, and look to see that you have 3 before the web page. It can happen. It's not a huge deal. I'll just clear what's here and then kind of run it again. If I even do it now, I'll clear this here. I'll go to my laptop and go in here and go to, come on browser, you can do it. Come on browser, you can do it. Whoa, hey. I'm going to open up the sniffer again while I do this. There we go. I'm going to try to leave that handy so we can see it. www.cnt.org. As you see it, those popped in there along with the HTTP. That's what I really want. Okay, I'm going to look at these first 3 TCP. So I'm going to highlight the first one. Let's make this wider over here. There's my Ethernet header, again, that we've looked at before. I'm going to scroll down. We're going to come back to the IP header soon. Keep going. I'm going to look at TCP now. Well, right off the bat, you'll notice this has a lot more header fields. Yeah, there's a lot more overhead here than there was with UDP. UDP was a simple, hey, do you have this address? Boom, there it is. TCP is like, hey, I want to send a whole bunch of web page stuff. Can we number everything? Can we label everything so nothing goes missing? So TCP has a lot more header fields to accommodate that. So I want to look at these header fields. Source port, this would be coming from my browser again. Destination port, this is talking to a web server, so it makes sense that it's port 80. Port 80 is the port for web server services, if you will. HTTP service on a server. Again, if I have multiple services running on the servers, this would talk to the web server service on that server. Sequence number 0, this is like, hey, I'm starting at 0, and everything here, I'm like with the odometer on our car, is going to increment up as we go. In real life, this would be a really large number, like the odometer of your car, and it just continues counting from there. Packet tracers make it as handy because it's making it start at 0 for you, so it's easier to reference. Acknowledgement number, again, is starting at 0, making it easy for you to reference. This, again, would be another large number, like your neighbor's odometer reading on their car, you know, that kind of thing. I'm going to look in here for, here's the offset, frag offset. If we have fragments out of order, this helps get them back in order. This lets you know what byte this is in the whole stream. Flags field, we're going to zoom in on that in a minute. Here's your window size, how many bytes of data can be sent before we expect an acknowledgement. So right now it's set really high, like, hey, I can send all kinds of stuff. Here's the header checksum. Here is the actual data. This would be the upper layer data. There is none at this point. Okay, so those are the major fields that we see with the port numbers, sequence acknowledgement, flags, and windows being unique here to TCP. That's why I kind of have those broken out for you. So let's now take a look at this first TCP segment a little closer. We're going to look at the flags field, and we're specifically going to look at the last 6 bits here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I take those last 6 bits and I plug them into my little decoder over here, okay, I notice that there's a 1 in this field, in this slot, if you will. That is the synchronization bit. That is the synchronization flag. So this right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there, those 6 bits right there indicate these flag fields here, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. So this is the synchronization. This is the first handshake, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to capture that. I'm going to capture that in my text file. We are in part 4 of the lab. Okay, so in my text file here, I'm going to say part 4 TCP, and I'm going to put in here this first string, these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to copy those last 6 bits. I'm going to put them in there, and this is my first TCP. This was my bits, and this indicates the sync flag is set. That's what that's indicating, that 1 and that last. So this is my first TCP handshake. This is my first TCP handshake. All right, well, let's keep going. We're going to look at the second one in line and see what it is. So over here, I'm going to highlight the next one. We now see, let's look at our TCP header. Source port is 80. This is coming from the web server back to my browser. So this is going the other way now. Sequence number is 0. The acknowledgement number is 1. It acknowledges that it received my handshake and it's sending back 1, indicating, okay, I got 0. I'm now expecting 1 from you. If I look at the flag fields here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if I look at those 6 right there, I'll notice that the acknowledgement is set and the synchronization is set. This is the second handshake. This is the second handshake. This is the handshake coming back from the server. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to highlight those. I'm going to copy those. And I'm going to put this in here. This is my second handshake. This right here equals the acknowledgement flag and sync flag are set. That's what that's telling me. That's what that's telling me. So I know that's my second handshake. Okay, so that is the server responding of like, okay, I sent a request and the server's now responding like, okay, I'm here, I'm good, I'm ready. So let's look at the third one. The third TCP, scroll down here, coming from my browser, going back to the server. This is going the other way now. You notice that the sequence number has now increased. I started at 0, now I'm 1. Kind of like the odometer of my car is increasing. The acknowledgement number is 1, meaning I got the server's chunk of data and I'm acknowledging that, saying I'm ready for your next one. In here, if I look at my flags field, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Those 6 right there. I'll see that that is the acknowledgement right there. That acknowledgement flag is set. So I'm going to copy this over here. This is my third handshake. So we'll put that in there, and that's indicating the acknowledgement flag is set. So we had, hopefully you remember from the reading, the first handshake was the synchronization. The next one acknowledges that, the server would acknowledge that and send its own synchronization, and then me, the user, would acknowledge what the server sent. And now we can actually transfer the data. There's the web page being loaded, if you will. There's not much data there, but there is the actual data, the web page data being loaded to my machine. Not much there, okay, just a little bit of context, a little bit of content. But there's my three-way handshake that occurs before that web page was loaded. All right, and that happens no matter when you're requesting something, especially like a web page. But this is also occurring when you do emails and other file transfers too. This is occurring every time you're clicking that page of like, give me the next page, give me the next page, give me the next page. That is occurring. That's TCP, and all of these header fields here are necessary to make that happen. That's why there's some overhead, but the overhead is there for the reliability that's needed. All right, so make sure you have your data here. I'm going to save my text file, and then I'm going to save my packet tracer before I get any further.